Hi guys, and welcome to another video. So, 2 videos in 2 days. That's madness. Absolute madness, you lucky bunch. After such a drought of information, we're getting quite a lot now, and it's only the 1st of July. So hopefully we do keep getting some more information and can keep cracking out videos for you guys. But today we do have a big piece of news, or a relatively big piece of news, I guess. It depends how you want to look at it. We have an outgoing player in George Dobson, and we also have a handful of incoming players, but it's all for the youth squad, which isn't a bad thing, but of course we're all just so desperate and we're so frustrated. We want to get a bit of positivity for the first team because we keep seeing so many outgoings. You know, we've got this, all this stuff going on with contracts with the 3-4 players that are going out of contract. And, we're desperate for some incoming players, particularly now the likes of George Dobson has left, which leaves us with, I think, 2 senior midfielders, one being Winchester, who is still a bit of not necessarily an unknown entity, but I still haven't really made or got to a judgment on him yet. I don't feel like we've seen enough of him yet, or he's had a proper run in the team for us to properly assess him. And Dhannoo, of course, who's practically a youth player, who's only played single-figure games for us, first team appearances anyway. And now we've got rid of the other midfielder, George Dobson, who, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying we should keep him, because I'm going to get onto that. I don't think we should keep him, because I don't rate George Dobson particularly highly. But seems like a nice enough lad. But it is getting to the point where our squad is absolutely bare. It is absolutely bare. We are really stripping this squad to the bare bones, and hopefully we have a plan in place. I'm sure we do. I have every faith in Sunderland for some reason. I have no idea why, but I have every faith that there is a plan, and there are, that there's a list of players, or there's a queue of players that were waiting to get through the door after we managed to strip the squad bare, like I say we are doing. But anyway, yeah. So George Dobson. He was released, by mutual consent. They have sort of cancelled the contract. They've parted ways. His contract's been terminated, and he's immediately joined Charlton. Now, that's the only little bit of annoyance for me. Don't get me wrong. I think the thing is, KLD might just say, or might be thinking, we're paying this player, George Dobson, who is of limited ability, and his wages might have been too high. And, we know how piss poor we've been with our finances in the past, and that's probably how he's seen it. He's probably seen it as, we're not going to play George Dobson. He doesn't have a future at the club. Charlton might not be willing to pay X amount that we maybe rated or valued Dobson at. So just cut ties, and if he's got the money to deal with that, then fair enough, because he is supposedly a multi-billionaire, so he's going to be able to deal with it. But it is annoying that he is going to, a promotion rival as such, in Charlton. All the best to George. For me, George Dobson, I've had a couple of Charlton fans message me, ask me my opinion on George Dobson. Now, I'm not going to sit here and just say he's absolutely shit and act sour, this, that and the other. I'm not. For me, I think George Dobson is best in a team that is usually, or is generally used to having their backs against the wall, and I think that's why he was so highly valued after his stint at Walsall, because Walsall were a team that were, they were constantly defending. And he is, for me, people say that he's more of a holding midfielder, but for a holding midfielder, I think he should be able to pass the ball, which I think he can't. I think he has very, very limited ability at that. But if you want someone who's going to give the all, give 110%, put the body on the line, then you've got your man. That's George Dobson. I think that's right. But in a team who are going for promotion, i.e. a Charlton, which is what kind of confuses me a little bit, although you might argue that Charlton are more of a counter-attacking side, so it might work. But for a team like, for example, Sunderland, generally, even though results haven't necessarily gone our way, we have been more of a sort of possession-based side, not necessarily a counter-attacking side. And that's when George Dobson's flaws really come to fruition, and they're really shown, because we're not constantly having our backs against the wall. We're trying to hold the ball, but he can't, because his passing ability, it has to be said, particularly the performance that sticks out for me like a sore thumb is that Rochdale game, where I think if you look at the game, the stats after it with him, he didn't make one pass. He could not make one pass throughout the entire game. It was almost laughable at the time when we played Rochdale that game. And I think I was frustrated because I think the post-match interview, the gaffer said that that we at least we passed the ball well after the game, and I thought he was absolutely taking the piss. Given that George Dobson, he could not string a pass together 3 or 4 yards, he was just pinging it out of play or straight to opposition players. He couldn't do it, and there were so many instances and so many performances like that where he just cannot pass the ball. He looks like he struggles to control the ball so much. But like I say, if you want someone who's going to trap back as an engine on him, who's going to put his body on the line for shots around the edge of the box, get blocks in, then yeah, he's your man, by all means. Yeah, so I'm not going to say he's horrific, but his footballing ability, for me personally, from what I've seen, is very, very limited. So it's absolutely the right decision. And for a very long time, I was on the side of George Dobson, because particularly youth players, or younger players, should I say, I really want them to do well. I'd really, really want them to do well, and you do give them that little bit of leeway and say, they have a bit of potential. He was captain at Walsall, or at least he was for a period. He captain at Walsall for a reason, and I think that is because he was always backs against the wall. He had that sort of warrior sort of side to him. But with Sunderland, with the way in which we were playing, or the way in which we try and play, for someone, he's not going to be defending constantly. And I think, again, it shows more when we don't have, or we haven't really had a creative midfielder in the middle. So when you've got someone like Max Power next to him, who, again, isn't the greatest going forward, or at least hasn't been the greatest going forward for us, alongside Dobson, none of them can really be that creative outlet. And Dobson trying to be a creative outlet, it doesn't work, and that's when it really comes under scrutiny, because he's constantly showing us his poor passing ability and always forward-thinking ability, and that's what we needed from him, and he isn't that kind of player. So for me, it just didn't suit us, in my opinion. He just didn't suit us. So so all the best to him. It was absolutely the right move, but I just hope to God that we do have things in place, and like I say, I'm sure we do. I'm sure there's a list of players, or we've got a list, a handful of players nearly or nigh on signing a contract with us. We're just trying to get the certain things over the line with the team at the moment. We're probably just trying to rid what we definitely don't want and get contracts signed that we need to be signed, and then start piling the players in, because it looks like we are using this data-led transfer system, which brings me on to the next part of news, which is we have 6 incoming players, all for the youth squad, which might not sound too exciting for you, but I'll quickly go through them anyway for you. So we have Cameron Jessup, we have Ethan Kachosa, we have Harrison Sona, and we have Thomas Scott. All of those have signed 2-year deals at the Academy of Light. Now we have 2 more youth signings, one being Nathan Newell and the other being Tyrese Dice. Now, I'm not going to sit here and pretend I know anything about any of these players. I know that Dice is a former West Brom player. I know nothing of the rest of them, but I will quickly have a look at the statement that the club have said after making these 6 academy signings. So the club have stated as follows: Sunderland AFC under-23s have confirmed 6 new signings ahead of the 2021-22 season, with several other players signing fresh terms at the Academy of Light. Cameron Jessup, Ethan Kachosa, Harrison Sona and Thomas Scott have all signed 2-year deals, with Nathan Newell and Tyrese Dice both penning 1-year contracts at the club. Defenders Jessup, 18, Kachosa, 18 and Newell, 19, arrived from Crystal Palace, Leeds United and National League North outfit Guiseley. Midfielders Sona, 19 and Scott, 18 have sealed respective moves from Aston Villa and Northampton Town, with left-sided player Dice, 20, signing from West Bromwich Albion. Regular members of the under-23 squad during the 2020-21 campaign: Kieran Dunn, Patrick Almond, Sam Wilding, Stephen Wern, Vinny Steels and Will Harris have also each signed new 1-year deals at Wearside. Elliot Dickman said, "We're very pleased to have made the signings we have. We've had a good look at them and they've also seen what we're all about. Alongside our existing squad, there will be plenty of support in their development, and as staff, we will help them work hard for their opportunities. Last season was really positive in terms of the squad and their collective progression, and I'm confident that the new additions will ensure that the group continues on that same path, both as a team and as individuals." Now, as I say, I'm not going to sit here and pretend I know anything about these players, but what is good and what I'm absolutely loving is this new focus and this care for the academy, because there have been so many times over the years on the channel I've said that our academy has been neglected, hence the poor results over the last few years. It's been absolutely horrid. They've had a torrid time of it, the academy lads. What we've been doing, of course, over the last 6 months we've improved massively because we've actually started to focus and give a bit of care and attention to the academy. But for so long, we pretty much just had the same batch of players for years that probably weren't of the correct standard, did not have the standard or the quality and ability, unfortunately, to be a part of the Sunderland Academy. But because it was being neglected, we just had the same players just there, and they were collecting new contracts when they were nowhere near good enough. And because we weren't bringing anyone else in, the academy wasn't being utilised correctly, considering it is a academy. It was handled very, very poorly. But now there seems to be a new focus in it, and I like this system that, of course, the likes of Patterson and Hawks, etc., though they've just been promoted to the first team. So now when these players are deemed good enough to maybe train or at least play with the first team, they're bringing players in, for the academy to replace them. And that's what they're doing. They're starting to take care of it. And again, I'm not going to sit and pretend I know who these players are, how great they are. They might not be great at all. I don't know because I don't know them. But with this new data-led transfer system, you would think that what they have done, they have cherry-picked these players from certain academies to fit and suit our academy, suit our style and system and philosophy of the club. You'd like to think that was the case. So our academy's been looked after, essentially. And of course, when this was announced on Twitter, immediately people are, ploughing in the comments, just saying, like, that's great, but now can we get onto the first team, please? Which is exactly what I'm screaming out for at this point because, we're playing this weekend, our first pre-season game, and it really is going to be a five-a-side squad. Or the under-23s are going to have to play themselves because we have next to nothing at the moment. So I'd like to say, or I'd like to think, and I keep on saying it, that there is players in mind and players are ready to come through the door now because our squad is bare bones and we desperately need players. We need a team. We don't have a team, and that's the be all and end all of it. And I don't want it to get to the point where, we end up being unprepared. We end up making all of our signings far too late, so the signings haven't had time to bed in, get used to the system, get used to the style of Lee Johnson and the staff and coaches, and then we end up getting to November, December, we've had a really poor and torrid start to the season, and then we're using that same old excuse we use every single season. Oh, but we only had 9 or 10 players in pre-season, look how far we've come, this is what LJ's had to deal with. When it's bollocks, we've had more than enough time. We've had more than enough time and ample time. There still is ample time to correct this and get the right players through the door. We might just have to be a bit more patient, but I can 100% understand the frustrations or at least the worries of the Sunderland fans. But that is everything for this video. George Dobson has gone to Charlton. What do you think about that? And of course, the academy as well. All those signings. What do you think about that as well? Let me know in the comments down below. But if you have enjoyed this video, please hit the like button for me. It'd be massively, massively appreciated. And subscribe to the channel if you're not already to become a fully fledged member of the Sarny Army. But for now, you take care. Stay jamming.